Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Story Darlings podcast. I'm Sandra.
And I'm Tera.
Who's that girl?
It's Jess.
Oh my goodness. Was that everything you wanted?
You should just change my image to Zooey Deschanel for a second. So that it really seals it in.
Today, we are so excited to have Jess back to talk about the third and latest book in the Kindred's Curse Saga quartet, which is Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. Not a fan of the cliffhanger ending, but I have so many feelings and thoughts, and hopefully we have enough time to talk about it all.
You guys asked last episode if things heated up in Heat of the Everflame, and I said it did heat up. And it did.
It did heat up, but talk about the very end of the book too.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
It heated up a little bit throughout the book, but it was very much stop and go.
Yeah, it was. I like the scene though. It combined some of my favorite things in the world. But to kind of give a very brief non-spoiler overview of this book, basically we pick up at the shit show that is the coronation rite that we presume happens from the second book. And then we don't know who's alive, who's dead, what happened to everybody, because kind of bedlam ensued. There was also a guardian attack with Auralie's people. I guess was she aware of the attack though? That's
Auralie?
What? Yeah, did she plan that attack?
She planned it.
She just didn't. She planned the attack on the
coronation.
She
just didn't know that her daughter was the queen.
Because she specifically told the Guardians to spare Luther because everyone assumed Luther was going to be the next heir for Lumnos.
And that makes sense as to why she had the discussion with Luther and she's like, why the fuck are you here?
Okay.
And then he was about to tell her that her daughter was the one.
Yeah, he was like, there's a complication because he knew.
And then she cut his Achilles.
Yeah.
Before she found out that it was her daughter.
Yeah.
Which rude.
Way to go. Way to go, Auralie. Way to go.
I feel like Auralie has a lot of those moments in this book where it's like, you're dumb.
She was definitely a frustrating mom figure to me, but also unresolved that carried over from the last book. Remus is still regent, still doesn't have his powers. Aemon still has all of Luther's prior responsibilities and titles. Andre's killer is still at large, so that's still a mystery. And the betrothal with Henry is still unresolved because she hasn't been able to connect with him. And so that carries us into this book.
That about sums it up.
I also, with Auralie being the way she is, I'm wondering how that happened, because he seems like a pretty smart guy, and she is being very dumb throughout this book.
But isn't that kind of how love works?
Yeah. Love is blind.
Stupid and dumb.
Well, okay, jumping into
spoilers.
Yeah. I don't have my book on me, so I can't hide my face anymore, but I don't feel like I need to.
We're
because
all
you guys are
together.
Now where I have been this whole time. Oh boy.
But we still feel like we know nothing.
I just want to talk about the fact that there was a 10th Kindred.
You called the 10th Kindred. You called Henry and Lana right away, which I didn't call until this book. So my brain was like, is she cheating? Did she already read the whole series and she's lying to us?
I'm just a super jealous girlfriend type, so I'm always picking up on little interactions. I'm always looking into things. I'm the psycho one.
I'm here for it.
I thought Henry would be redeemed in this book for me, but he's not. I feel worse about him.
Okay, we need to talk about this because on Penn Cole's Instagram, she has the top 10 reasons why I'm Henry's #1 fan or something like that. I straight up was like, I must be missing something. What is it? And I didn't it's a thing you swipe through. So I didn't read it until I finished the 3 books. And it's totally a parody of her crapping on Henry.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? There is no way. This is not the same book.
You should definitely check it out because it's hilarious.
I mean, he was just trying to sleep with Diem in the room, like getting it hot and heavy with her. They're betrothed, but he was being icky about it. And then meanwhile, Diem like finally goes to meet up with him, catches him making out in an alley with Lana, and you can tell it's been going on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, so you were just gonna willingly get married to one chick and then do her, and then you're doing whatever with Lana at the same time. It was just gross to me.
And doesn't Lana say that they're in love?
Lana tells her that they've been doing it for a while. Henry says something like, "You've been absent," or something like that. Diem's like, "I've been at the castle. Like, you've known where I am this whole time."
It's like, I've been at the castle because I'm a freaking descended and my mom disappeared. That hit her really hard. What was she supposed to do?
Doesn't she even like call him on her dad's funeral too? Not
can't
really
remember.
being there for her during that time?
Probably. I can't remember exactly. But like, no brownie points for him.
Okay, so I just looked it up, and it's 7 reasons to love Henry. And I'm just going to read you a few of them. The first one is, he's not afraid to tell you when you're wrong. A, for accountability. The second
But
one is...
he's not willing to admit when he's wrong.
Yeah, well, that's not part of the thing, Tara. The second
We're only
one...
looking at this from a...
reasons to love him, not reasons to hate him. He knows how to grab a woman and hold on. We love a man with good grip strength.
Oh my gosh.
While he's committing sexual assault. I'm just going to add what he actually did.
They were definitely fun. So everyone
to
go
back
look
and-
at that. It's super funny.
Womp womp. He had so much potential to me and I wanted him to grow. Which, okay, I'll say they did have a very tough emotional conversation. Like, I felt for both of them just because they went on different paths. They grew differently. So I totally get it.
Do we feel like he's irredeemable at this point? I feel like I've asked that every time we've
I'm still
met.
where I was, because I don't think he does anything too irredeemable in this book. I mean, yes, he was kind of cheating, but also so was she. So, like, that relationship had kind of ended, right?
Yeah.
Both people were seeing other people, and they knew it, kind of. Like, she had some inklings about Lana.
My thing is it feels like he and Lana happened before she and Luther happened. He and Lana feels like it happened before she became the heir to the crown person.
But her and Luther
Yes.
were kind of happening a little bit before that, too.
I mean, he was coming on to her and flirting and stuff, but she was
And
fighting
she was
it.
having feelings.
But Henry
But
was
she
asking
wasn't
her to
acting
marry
on it.
him while he had a side piece. That's my
Okay,
thing.
yeah.
That is where, when you guys compared him to Kale last episode,
He
I
would
was like,
never.
Kale would never.
Okay, yeah, no, I agree. Kale would never cheat. He would not do
He
that.
even almost did, and like Nesrian like broke up with him, and he still was like, I have to have a conversation with her to make sure we're cool before I can like pursue things.
He
like,
did.
Kale would never. So I'm done now with that. But
Someone has to defend Kale.
I am here to do it.
I will give you, Henry is a 10 on the ick, whereas Kale is still like a 5 on the ick for me.
So I'm getting from you that Henry is out. No redemption for him at all.
I don't think there's no redemption for him, but there's a lot of work to be done for a redemption arc.
I feel like Henry is 100%, he's drunk the Kool-Aid, as Tara said in that first episode. He is brainwashed by Vance. He is not really opening his eyes to like other perspectives. So I think he has potential, but I don't have high hopes.
I was hoping that last conversation that they had where she's like, Vance is not who you think he is, and telling him a little bit about Vance, I was hoping that would open his eyes.
I think it's opened the door. I think it's cracked open the
Mhm.
door is the feeling I got. So I do see
Yeah.
shades of some possibility there. So I still have hope.
No hope for him and Diem together as
No.
a couple.
No.
0. But redemption for him as a person, maybe.
I feel like there was 0 in my heart once Luther came in the picture in the first
that's
place.
true.
So whether or not Henry was the best thing in the world, there was still 0 hope.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of Tara's picks of men here, Taran is not like he didn't end up with Alix or Eleanor like I thought he would.
No, but he
I was
has a person.
surprised. He does have a
You
person.
guys were like, I was sitting there and I was like, just wait till you guys meet his love interest. And I was like, I don't want to spoil that. But Taran's got some stuff going on that we don't know about yet.
I do like his love interest for him. Valeric, they are super cute together and they have the same type of personality. And so they're like two bulls, like butting horns, and it's hilarious to see it. And Sandra, get your mind out of the gutter.
Sorry, you saw it all over me.
I did. I saw it. Your face. Your face gave it away.
Can't lie.
I am here for Tera being a closeted, hopeless romantic to the point where he's like shipping Diem and Luther so hard and like putting his nose where it doesn't belong. And I love it. I love it so much.
Oh, he's so sweet.
He's so cute.
Speaking of Zal, what do we think is happening with all of these half-mortals being so much more powerful than even a lot of Descended?
I have a theory here. The half-mortals are like okay, so the Kindred.
I love when Tera's wheels start spinning and I can see it happening.
The Kindred fell in love with humans. So that cross-pollination, if you will, is what made the world how it is, right? And so that was the strongest that they were, is the cross-pollination between a mortal and an immortal. And so they kind of bred that cross-pollination out, but now that it's getting a little bit back in, they are going back to their full strength. They need that diversity to be at their full strength.
And that's the real reason the Descended banned them from getting together, not this crock of shit reason they said.
Well, and I mean, I'm going to go back to like Superman. Like Superman has the powers because he's on Earth's whatever, but an alien needs to be able to have the immunity to the world that they're in, right? And so maybe that's what the mortals gave them, is the immunity to the world. I don't know. I just feel like the diversity has to be there.
My thing, I agree with you, Tera, but my thing is that Diem talks about how the Kindred left, the Kindred left the Descended there to protect the mortals.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not doing that. Whereas the half-mortals are more inclined to actually do that, and therefore the gods gift them with stronger powers, because Luther is helping them, Diem's helping them. They're putting people of importance into these roles where they're more likely to actually do what the Kindred wanted them to be doing from the get-go. So that's my theory about
Okay, but
that.
Who are they?
The Kindred.
The gods?
Yeah. Based off of how Luther describes it, like, Lumnos gifted him his powers. Lumnos gifts everybody in her territory their powers.
Okay.
So, like, I think the gods kind of determine how strong all of these people are.
Okay, but we've only met Lumnos hybrids, whatever they're called, because Zalark is a Lumnos person. That got sent with Luther's groups, right? Luther's a Lumnos and Diem. So have we
Diem
met
is
any...
not, though. As we find out in this book, Diem's not actually half from the Lumnos Descended. She's actually from the 10th Kindred.
But she has to be something Lumnos because she got the crown of Lumnos.
But she also got the crown of Umbros and
Fortos and Montios.
Like, so she killed their leaders. So that's how I thought she was getting those crowns. And then I think because her mom is a Lumnos resident, she is like kind of like a dual citizen of Lumnos and her father's territory.
I think she is going to become the queen of literally every territory.
I think
we're just blowing up all of these people and they're all going to die and she's just going to be queen of everything.
So here is my crack theory. In knowing that there is a 10th descendant named Omnos, which is all, that's where she gets her ability to have, everyone's power. She can absorb the power. Even like the lore around Ophiuchai's name, he was able to do that, like in legend. But we also know in the old religion that the Everflame, so the tree of life and death that used to stand on Krill Island, was the one that dropped the sparks or seeds onto the other land. So I'm guessing that Auralie and her lineage comes from people who lived on Krill. And the French word for heart is cœur. And we know that I'm thinking these people that are half like Lumnos or have like the silver eyes, they probably have lineage from Krill, just like Luther, just like Diem, just like Zal probably. And so it's like that marriage between Omnos and the actual Krill island that makes her so different.
Okay.
So that's my thing.
Okay, so he is the 10th Kindred, right? Omnos is?
And the youngest.
He's been alive this whole time that humanity and the Kindred have been going to shit. So he is realistically the strongest, the most connected to the old world gods of anybody, because he came from the other planet or whatever, and the rest of them have died because they gave up their mortal lives. He did not. I also think that because of the untainted blood coming straight from him, she has also got to be more powerful, right? Because she's coming straight from the source of the power
Yeah.
that didn't get tainted by human blood and then thus lost something of their godhood.
Minus her mom.
But there's something about the land of Kuril, because even he died. Like, Auralie stabbed him through the heart with the Godstone on that island, but he didn't die. And there's kind of the Phoenix lore happening with that too, which ties back to Luther's family.
Well, and that also ties back to the cliffhanger. Do we want to just go to the cliffhanger?
So my theory is that he's full Kindred, and that's why the Godstone didn't kill him. My theory is that Diem will not die because, like...
She is also.
Yeah. I mean, obviously she's part mortal because of her mom, but because of how her connection to all of the other...
But hear me out. This is my, like, crazy. I'm with Sandra. I don't think her mom is full mortal.
No, she's a direct Everflame guardian because the red hair and the depictions of the red hair.
The gods of the mortals. I think she has a tie. So I don't think she's full mortal. I think she's something else.
I could see her being mortal and still a direct descendant of the Everflame, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't think she is full everyday mortal. I think there's something else to Auralie too. And then that combined with Omnos is why, like I said, I think she is getting her Lumnos heritage from her mom. And that's why she was able to take that crown first, because she was the strongest of Lumnos descendants.
So real quick, before we get into the cliffhanger, because I know we're like leading our way there, if we don't think that Auralie is fully mortal and like is a direct descendant of the Everflame, does that give us hope for Tera and Lily?
Yes, there's going to be something. They're building up Tera and Lily so much.
Something needs to happen there.
They can't just leave it. Like, they can't. And with both Luther and Diem shipping them, I can't see that they're going to let it fly, that they just don't get to have the loves of their life.
I loved Luther being like, if he isn't willing to fight for her, he doesn't deserve her anyway. When Diem was like freaking out about it, I was like, yeah, Luther, that's true.
But I don't think he's not willing to fight for her. I think he feels like he's doing the right thing by her to not make her suffer.
I think so too, but I liked Luther kind of goading him, being like,
be a man.
Yeah.
You guys work it out together. I don't like that he's making the decision for her.
Yeah, taking away her autonomy.
Yeah, let her decide whether or not she is willing to put up with the good and the bad at the same time.
Sandra, you look like you have something to say.
I suspect with Tera and Lily ending up together that it's not going to be like your classic happily ever after kind of thing, only because I do think that Auralie is a direct descendant of the Kuril guardians, so they age naturally, they're mortal, but the lore in the Everflame is that if you die, the old gods determine like how you lived, then you get that spark, like you can come back, basically. So a part of me thinks something bad is going to happen. So Luther's comment is kind of spreading breadcrumbs that Tera is going to have to do something that proves his love for Lily, whether it's sacrificing himself or something like that. And that's how he's going to come back and earn life with Lily.
Okay, I'm gonna love if he has to do like a Hercules thing where he has to like put himself on the line to like save her, and in doing so he earns his godhood.
I mean, even in the sex scene at the library when they're doing it with the art of the Everflame tree right there, and there's the guy with the auburn hair standing under the tree, but he's never facing up, he's always looking down, you can't see his eyes. I think we're gonna find out that he has like silver eyes. It's just something with their line, because Tera has red hair too. The auburn shade of Auralie is a very striking kind of red too. I mean, Diem's hair was a red shade before it turned white, so we'll see.
I like that theory.
We still don't know what's going on with Diem's hair, like why she wasn't born with the white hair if she is a kindred, what happened with that. So I'm hoping that we get some info on that whole situation.
Oh, you know what? Dude had to have been healing from the little knife wound he has. Maybe his blood, there's something something with his blood that he has to be, or he had to be alive or something. Like she didn't get his power or whatever until he was back to health, maybe?
Maybe. What do we think of Ophiuchi? Do we think he's bad, or do we think he's more of like a chaos character? He is the youngest, he's the worst sibling. The other world got destroyed for some reason. He is so powerful, it's an imbalance. Is he bad, or is he just this chaos
and they
character?
chained him too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Again, with Auralie's like ability to process things that she should not be doing, like this dude's chained up. I'm gonna go screw his brains out. Sounds like a plan.
Hey, she was young too. She was 20, and Diem's made some stupid decisions at 20.
She was young and dumb and easy to trick. I hope he's evil because Diem needs to kill him. Like,
and she's not going to be able to if he's not evil.
Based on the end of the book, Diem needs to get him gone, and she needs to be the one to do it. Otherwise, she loses her power. I don't want that to happen.
And how do you kill him? Because Godstone to the dagger didn't kill him.
This goes back to the quote.
Was it the journal quote?
No, the prophecy in the first book that the Queen of Umbros shares with Diem.
Okay, while you're looking that up, the Queen of Umbros who's saying all the bad things about her next heir or the heir to her throne, and she's like, yeah, just keep your eye on my heir. And then it turns out to be Diem.
She says something along the lines of, my heir is going to be your biggest adversary. And it turns out that it's Diem. And I really liked that, personally. Yeah. I thought that was like, Diem is her own worst enemy. And I feel like we all have seen that several times at this point. So,
well, one of the, like, even the cliffhanger, she is her worst adversary there. She trusted the other thrones and then made a pact that she would give up her magic if, like, don't do that, dum-dum.
The wording of that bonded bargain, she learned nothing from her situation with Remus, because the bonded bargain was like, he said, I'll do whatever I can to convince this other person to vote for you, and in exchange you will kill him. And it should have been, I will try to kill him. If you
I will do my best, you do your best, we'll both do our best. But if she never survives that thing and she never becomes coronated, then how is she supposed to kill him? It was set up to be a no-win situation for her.
Yeah. So the prophecy is, when forgotten blood on Heartstone falls, then shall the chains be broke, which we saw happen. Right? Life for life, old debt requires, or eternal be his yoke.
Okay, hold on. So life for life. So that is, I think, her for him, right? It's either her or him dying. One of them has to die.
Maybe.
Because they're the same.
So we have to figure out what life for life, old debt requires means.
Old debt? I wonder if that's what he got punished for in the first place. Like, whatever made him in the chains, either she has to pay for it or he has to pay for it. And then what was the last part?
Forever be his yoke?
Or eternal be his yoke.
What the fuck does that mean?
Well, like, a yoke on an ox thing is like the like chains, isn't it? So, or he will forever be like in chains, maybe?
It could be this quote. I thought you were referring to Auralie's notebook, where she was writing down her medical healings and stuff, and she had some notes in the margin that was like life and death and something equals ? I think I was guessing that Diem was going to be like the antidote or whatever to whatever the death was. Death equals whatever, like what heals death.
She was the antidote to like Luther and Tera getting stabbed, right?
Her blood heals the Godstone wounds. Yeah. That's why I think Godstone won't kill her. But also, the King of Igneous totally just stabbed himself through the heart there, because there's no way Diem's given him her blood to heal his Godstone wound. I loved that. I loved how Sophos. They're like, we figured it out. We have the antidote. Don't worry about it. Diem's like, actually, I have the antidote, but I'm not going to tell you that because you're chaining me to this island.
Yeah, Doyle.
And not even just chaining her to the island, but making it to where she can't leave and nobody can come see her.
Yeah.
She's like talking about having to hunt for food and shit.
Can we also discuss that I think Luther can come visit her?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. I agree.
He can.
Why?
Because it said only royals can visit her, and Luther's her mate. and therefore is the king consort and should therefore be able to come visit.
Okay, well, I would like that, but
I would like it too.
So he also said in the Phoenix necklace, the drop of him is that way he'll always be with her. So I'm like, something's gonna play out here. He'll be able to see her.
But he's like whispering something like as she's like getting onto the ship to go to the island. And I think what he's whispering was the like oath or whatever it is that they said that they're required to make someone your mate. Because it could be
one-sided.
Yeah, they really talk about how it could be one-sided. So she did not have to swear it back.
But she mentioned that she is the second that she sees him again, right?
Well, yeah.
Like after he leaves, she mentioned that. So that would imply that maybe he has already said it too.
Wait, okay. When did
because
he
she
whisper
doesn't
this
mention
stuff?
that we are going to be saying this. She mentions she is going to say it to him.
Luther's whispering something as she's getting onto the ship from Sophos. Sophos, thank you. I'm going to mispronounce all of these forever. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Uncultured.
But what about his behavior leading up to there? He kept giving that poor boy, Stuart, so much grief for thinking Diem was beautiful. Yeah. But I'm like, that was a little out of character for Luther. Are we sure the mating thing didn't fall into place there?
Yeah.
Or is that the one thing that calmed down Auralie's mind when they were having their little one-on-one mom Luther time too?
I mean, I feel like we all know Luther's known for a while that he is Diem's, like that Diem's it for him. But I don't think he swore the oath until she was getting on the ship and he was like, I don't want to be without you. And she was like, I'll be right back. And he was like,
no, you won't.
You're my mate.
You're dumb.
Poor Diem.
Whatever. She deserves it. Quit letting other people tell you who can and cannot go with you onto this island. What are you doing?
Okay, I had two things. Perth.
Dude.
His death.
That will make... that's the thing, though, is if Luther's allowed to be on the island, that makes Perth's death, like, even worse. Because Teller saved Luther over Perth, and, like, he didn't need to if Luther wasn't going to die there.
And then I forgot my second thing because Perth was one of those and it came up when you guys were talking, so.
While you're thinking about that, what I want to talk about is something that I'm super pumped about because as soon as the king of Igneos, as soon as he is no more, Diem will become queen of Igneos and then Saray will finally get to be with her boyfriend again.
Yes. Okay, so she has the power of the fire from Fortios, right? Is it Fortios? She has the power of the mind thought from Umbros, and she had these things even before she became the ruler of them, right?
She has the power of every land she's stepped foot in. There was one she'd never stepped foot on before, and Luther was like, you should just do it. Just for fun. Just for funsies. Just like step over the border sometime. And I don't even remember which one that was. My guess is she's been there at this point.
Wait, what are the powers for all of them? So we got the fire. She's got ice. Wind from somewhere. And
you
ice.
Got light and dark, fire, ice, thought.
Meros, the sea and wind. Arbros, speaking with animals. You can
knowledge,
create vines and land.
From Sophos.
Sophos has like the knowledge.
That's where she could like read all of the books and like
and electricity.
Like, So who has healing powers?
That was Fortos as well, because Fortos is the only realm that has, but females get that.
The men have the violence, and the women have the healing. That's why Fortos was able to get away with being misogynistic. It didn't work out.
And then she can also absorb to get even stronger.
Well, we find out that her power gets charged from other people's power. So
much like Bryce.
Zap. Yeah, exactly.
Are we thinking that Henry was just blowing air out of his ass when he told Diem that Sophos used the mortals, or are they actually going to use Teller?
Oh, no, I think he's just wrong. I think that 100% he wholeheartedly believes it. I think like the kid kind of talks about how they spread those rumors on purpose so that people stop like going after the families of the humans that go work there. The humans are 100% totally safe, totally like people who've never been to Sophos don't know anything about that, and they've created this like kind of like the Night Court. They've created this illusion of like violence to keep people from being violent towards the people they've brought in.
But they also don't have Rezan. They have asshole Doriel.
Yeah,
Hate
that's
him.
that's why I was like a little bit skeptical that they were telling the truth, right? Because he didn't seem like the most trustworthy dude.
He's definitely not the most trustworthy dude, but I still think that it's correct. That's really what's going on there.
It was just some bad propaganda to serve them in a weird way.
Well, then I feel much better about Teller, except for I still don't trust Dorian.
Whoa. Dorian is good. Doriel is bad.
Doriel. Okay. Well, I told you I was reading this at 3.5, so I didn't know that I had all the names right because I kept hearing Dorian. And I'm like, I don't know that I can handle this with Dorian and my Throne of Glass being wonderful and this dude being a little shady.
Dorian will forever be the name of good people, and if I read a book where they try to make that the villain's name, I will stop reading it. I'm not 100% sure Doriel is a bad person so much as a person letting fear rule.
He's no Igneos or Fortos.
At this point, who is still alive? We've got
Sophos?
Well, Igneos for a little while. Sophos,
Arbros. Arbros was supposed to vote against, like, in Diem's favor and didn't because she was afraid.
I was so, I understand where she was coming from, but I was so disappointed in her. I was like, come on.
What was she afraid of again?
Seemingly, she's in league with the rebels, and she didn't want the other crowns to get suspicious.
Not good enough, right?
I did like where Umbros
Phanos
took it on. I was like, she doesn't deserve it, but I never told you I wasn't siding with her.
She became one of my favorite characters. She was so sassy.
Wait, who?
Tricky.
Umbros.
Ursel, yeah.
R.I.P. She dead now.
She went down like a boss.
Yeah, she did.
I like that she scratched him as she was going down, and that somehow she knew to put like the
she knew when she was gonna die.
Godstone in her.
Yeah, she knew she was going there to die, and she straight up was like, "Good luck, bitches."
You had freaking Igneos like kicking her corpse on the ground, like just kicking her in the head. I'm like, come on.
Well, and then he started like bad
body.
mouthing her, like she did something wrong and he was fine with stabbing her. And she's like, that bitch, she scratched me. It's like, you just stabbed her through the heart, dude.
So I think there's 4 remaining, and it's Sophos, Meros, Phanos, and Arbros.
Phanos wasn't nice either.
Phanos, like, doesn't even register to me.
And then she has the crowns of Lumnos,
Montios,
Fortos, Umbros, and soon to be Igneos.
Unless Sophos heals him.
He won't.
Somehow.
I'm not worried about it. She could open up the next book at his funeral and I'd be like, yeah.
You deserved it.
You start the book with another crown.
Everyone's in black. Because
he's an asshole.
And Omnos was located in the north between Sophos and Montios, right? It's like the Forgotten Lands or something.
Yes.
No, wait, isn't she Montios's crown? Isn't that the one that she went into? Okay.
Yes, there's Montios and there's Meros, and I don't know the difference. I think Meros is the one that's like sea.
That makes sense because mare is
mermaid.
The word for sea. In English, it would be seaman.
Montios is the one where she showed up and...
Sandra, get your mind out of the freaking gutter.
You always say it so enthusiastically. I'm just like, okay. Sorry.
I'm like
a 12-year-old boy.
Yes, you are.
I thought I said I didn't need my book for this recording.
I'm making Jessie blush.
Well, Tera already did that with the New Girl reference. We're just getting extra heated here.
We're just all vibes here. That's it.
Fine.
You can definitely tell when we record late versus earlier in the day. Like, we are much slap happier in the night.
Yeah, we are. But we know the killer now of Andre.
Ooh. We do?
You do?
Yeah.
I don't think I know.
Remind us. Remind the children, Sandra.
Remind the ones that have less reading ability, apparently.
No, there was a big deal about the knife that Doriel had, and he talked about how they were gifted, and so Evrim Bennett had a knife.
Okay.
And we know that she pissed off Bennett at the crown ball.
But we also know that Bennett was robbed by Vance and his friends.
And we know Vance is a little
haven't
shady.
talked about Vance. Yeah.
I
hate
really
him
did appreciate when
so
Vance
much.
lost his arm.
I know, right? Wasn't that kind of like a fun scene?
I was like,
I liked
woohoo! This is like a happy moment.
Okay,
But
and we
it was
also
only his arm.
I know.
we also haven't talked about the compass yet, and I was like, let's talk about all the gifts she got because
I have never been more pissed off and annoyed with Diem as a character with this scene that you're talking about. Let's go.
Where he's got the compass, and Luther always likes to have the compass close to him because the compass leads him to where she is, because it leads you to the thing you want most. And
Isn't that adorable?
It's the cutest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
And the way that, like, wasn't it Taryn that was like trying to tell her what he used and that he used the compass?
And Luther was like, "Shut up, Taryn."
Shut up.
And Taryn was like, "No,
He's a big softy."
Taryn's nickname is Cupid because he's just here to make everyone happy.
He deserves his happiness though too.
Yes.
So hopefully he's found that with Zal. But what do we think of Diem's decision to do a bonded bargain with Lumnos? This is what angered me. I'm like, you dumbass. You know that you got a potion that can cure anything, and you're just like running around like chicken with your head cut off on how to heal Luther. Whenever you could have gotten the stupid potion and given it to him. You didn't have to use the compass to find the potion or make a deal with the Lumnos statue.
But did she?
She did. It bled onto her blood on her hand. And then she has a tingle in her wrist now. She has a bonded bargain with it. I don't know what the terms of that.
I'm okay with it.
I think she said she would do anything if she could, if he stayed alive.
I don't know that there was actually a bonded bargain there. I will say I was okay with how frantic she was about it because I think we found out that it wasn't the potion from Arbros that healed him. It was her blood. She got her blood on something and he consumed it when she gave him the potion, and that's what healed him.
Maybe I'll be fine.
But if she does have that bonded bargain, I appreciate that more because then she has two bonded bargains going against each other. Because she said that she was going to do anything to keep Luther alive. Like, I'll do anything if you help me keep him alive, whatever, right? And then the bonded bargain with Doriel was that she would lose her magic if she doesn't. But I wonder if because she has so much magic, like, they didn't specify which magic. I think she has some that is born of her, like her healing and those things that are born of her, not from a descendant, which I think maybe the only thing like magic that they can take is the descended magic. I think she still has some, like Sandra was saying, her mom. She has some from her mom's side, which is maybe
Mama was a good healer for a reason.
Her healing. Because there's like Fortos couldn't heal that well. He didn't have that ability.
No, because he's a man.
But like you don't see that in his side either. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the women, because if they were able to heal like that, then I feel like we would have heard about that. I like your man voice, though.
Oh, we are slap happy. It's that hour.
None of us, well, I don't think any of us have drank today, so.
We should have done that and have a glass of wine and chit-chat about this book. No, okay, Umbros, Ursel, she gave the library key, but also, didn't she say to take the Rosebane with you as well? Like, who said take the Rosebane? I'm like, what is Rosebane? Do you remember this part? It happened, like, guys.
This is book 3, right?
But yes, I do like how like she also, when she gave her the key to the library, she's like, yeah, just keep it. You can come back anytime, knowing that she was about to die and she was her heir.
It was like page 999 or something on Kindle. There's a quote: Ursel's shadowy eyes did not leave mine. Take the Rosebane. Use my key. Heed my warnings, especially about my heir, and don't forget what you pledged to sacrifice to see your plans through.
What did she pledge to sacrifice?
She'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah, she said, I'll do anything. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Part of me is a little paranoid that the life for life prophecy is that Diem has to die for her dad to die. Like, they're linked through their blood. And so life for life means she has to sacrifice her life to take his life.
And she said she would do anything to do it.
Do we think Luther knows something? How he was acting toward the end, it did seem like he knows something else about all of this too. And I don't think it has, well, maybe it is having to do with the mates. I think it happened though when they were having sex in the library, because some of the language in his professions of love to her were very mate oath ish.
Okay, so if she does, I'm gonna go off on Jess's theory here. If she does have to kill herself or like die herself in order to kill her dad, then that's where Sandra's theory could come in, where the Everflame comes up through her and decides whether or not she gets to come back to life.
Whether she's worthy.
Mhm.
And she's saving the whole world, so I don't
Hopefully
see
she would be worthy.
what's
more worthy than that? So
the ultimate sacrifice. He said, "Let all those who might try to tear us apart see this and know how far my devotion will go. I will suffer for you, bleed for you, but most of all, I will survive for you. My body can be carved in two, open and dying, and still I will crawl from the ruins of my flesh and fight my way back to your side. Death itself could not keep me away. My oath to you is written on my skin. Once that vow was just to serve you. Now it is everything." That's what he told her.
Do we know for a fact that his mom is mortal?
No, we sure don't. I was just about to say, also it could be life for life, is that Luther has to sacrifice his life for her in order to be able to kill her dad. I don't know.
I don't like that.
But then that's where like Lumnos comes back in, and she has this bonded bargain that says he lives, basically. She would do anything for him to live.
But then would that negate her dad dying if Luther came back to life? Like, I don't know. There's like so many little pieces that we have to find out about. So I don't know.
I'm wondering, going off of Sandra's theory, if Luther knows something more about his lineage, and he knows he's also like something else.
Was he reading any of the books in the library when they were, or was he just like giving her food and stuff? He was busy. He was busy with dessert.
He was reading something, but it wasn't a book.
Speaking of Luther's lineage, though, how did Remus change at all in your guys' estimation after this book?
Oh, the little fucker went downhill.
Oh, really?
He was acting like he's the ruler and she was nothing again.
He was very duplicitous.
Yeah, I thought we went over that. And when they made the deal that she wouldn't tell anybody if he did what she needed him to do, that I thought we went past that.
I thought he had some pretty sound reasonings behind why he took over and kept, because he told her like for the stability of the monarchy and stuff, because they'd been infiltrated by Fortos and all of that stuff.
He still did some asshole things to her that wasn't needed.
But is it him or is it Aemon too?
But also we have his reaction when he thought Luther was going to die.
So that did make me feel a little bit better, but then he started doing assholey things again, and so I was like, you know what? Like, he seems very two-faced. And
I think he genuinely cares for Luther, but also he loves power. But also, where was Aemon this whole time? Because he still did things to backstab Diem in this book.
But also, I don't know, Aemon, for whatever reason, especially as we like learn about his past with Tera, Aemon felt really Eris vibes to me.
I did get more Eris out of him in this book.
I think Aemon's gonna have a redemption, like stronger than Henry. I want Aemon to have a redemption more than I want Henry to. Also.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. I think Aemon isn't as bad as he is acting like he is. I think he's trying to remain in the spot so that somebody is there that they can trust. And to do that, he has to act like he is.
Well, also, I think inside he's just a scared little boy who used to get beat by his dad and just wants someone to recognize him and love him. And like, I picture him like Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance when he went through that blonde phase back in like the early 2000s.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
You will. Because I just get really like heavy My Chemical Romance vibes from Aemon.
Here we go. I'm looking
Diem
it up.
gave him quite the speech, and I would have felt this big after she talked to me like that too.
I think he heard her too. I think he's gonna be there for her, which is great because Terran's gonna need his brother.
When Diem was shocked at the end that Sarai had broken through the chains to get to her, what if it was Aemon that released Sarai? That would be kind of redeeming, wouldn't it?
I don't know that the people of Lumnos were necessarily being bad people when they were trying to keep Diem from like getting away in that scene, because they were trying to keep her from going and rescuing her mom, and so they were trying to prevent her from creating an international incident. And from their perspectives, like all of that makes total sense to me. That's exactly why Alix was like on Remus's side there and was like, no, you shouldn't go. I think that Diem is making irrational choices that are self-serving,
Rash.
and she's not thinking like a ruler at this point in time. Remus and Alix and all of these people were like, no, you can't take your Gryvern and fly to Fortos and do these things without having a game plan, because you're just gonna tick off the other royals and create a war, and we don't need that. And she's like, I'm gonna do what I want. And it worked out great for her because she just became Queen of Fortos, but nobody even knows that yet. So, like...
Okay, so the prophecy is when her blood leaks on Hearthstone, the locks will unlock. So did her blood leak on the Hearthstone again? So then maybe it unlocked Saray.
Well,
the locks unlocked.
When her blood dripped down onto the Hearthstone, it broke the Hearthstone and it released her father from his prison.
But maybe it unlocks locks in general.
Oh,
like when
maybe.
she got stabbed again, was she by the Hearthstone when she got stabbed at her second coronation?
I don't think she was.
Okay.
Because I think they were all standing around it and they were all saying, like, they all made the vote. And they were like, everyone, all of these people have until sundown to get off the island. So she ran down and was like warning people to get off the island. So she wasn't near the Hearthstone when she collapsed.
But did she put her blood on the Hearthstone to vote? Because she had her 5 votes or whatever?
I don't think they used blood to do that vote.
That was my thought, is maybe it unlocks whatever, like...
The only blood exchange was with Doriel for the bond.
But also, one thing I just thought of is, what if life for life in that prophecy that the Queen of Umbros said at the beginning of the first book, what if that means like all of the current royals have to give up their lives to give Diem life and fulfill some sort of promise?
Kill her dad.
Ooh, I like that. Let's go with that one.
Yeah, I want all of them to die. I'd much rather that happen than Luther.
How do we think Arbros dies?
Painfully, because she's a bitch.
I don't think she's a bitch. I think that she is terrified and doing the best she can.
She's scared shitless. Yeah.
I think that's going to be really hard for Diem to come to terms with, is like the remaining royals are all afraid, but I don't think they're bad people.
I don't know, because she knew the whole time Diem was being chained to a tree and tortured by Vance.
That's true.
But
she had to maintain her anonymity.
I don't think she had to maintain it with Diem, because some of the others already knew. Like Umbros already knew, and so did Fortos or whatever. I think she could have stopped, at least, like, even just like
Fortos didn't know, because
who was the one who told her? Who told Diem?
I think her mom did.
No, it was another ruler.
Then it was Umbros.
No,
or
it was a man.
Maybe it was the council in...
Somebody else knew. One of the other rulers knew.
It wasn't Fortos, though, because Fortos was like, we're still waiting to get Arboros's vote on whether or not we can, like, excommunicate you.
Maybe Montios, because he's the only other old one that was there for Omnos.
Montios might have known. It might have been, like, the council in Montios when she went there told her, because they have a bunch of information.
Because she was still wondering where she was, and that she was in there with them, and they're like, she was not captured.
I think that they maintained it because, and I think Arbros left Diem there because, as far as the Queen of Arbros was concerned, Cordelia? Was that her name? Cordelia was in charge, and she knew Cordelia wasn't going to harm Diem. Vance went around Cordelia to harm Diem. I don't know that Arbros would have known that.
That happened some when Arbros was there with her, though. Like, Vance came in some. I think that she had the ability, the power to help Diem a little bit more than she did there.
Well, she definitely had the ability and power to help Diem way more than she did, because, again, she voted against Diem at the end, and she shouldn't have done that. Again, I think she's just afraid and doing the best she can for her and her subjects more than anything else. I think that it's going to be really hard if Diem has to take out all of the rulers of all of the kingdoms. That's going to include people she likes, and I think she's going to have a hard time killing those people, even if it is to, like, go up against her father.
Yeah, because she has a hard time killing people that she can't stand, like Vance.
There's a reason Vance is still alive.
And it's not for a lack of her ability to kill him.
Yeah. Or
reason.
Or Luther's ability to kill him, because Luther 100% could have offed him and brought him back to Diem as a sign of his devotion to her. And I was like, that's nice,
and
Luther,
just
but
like,
also
okay,
next time,
you can go, just try to be better.
Stab him.
Like, he's not gonna be better, okay? He's just not. Get over it.
He's very radical, not changing.
That's like getting a tiger for a pet, being like, oh, you shouldn't have done that every time they maul somebody that comes to visit. What do you expect?
Maybe he'll be the one that kills Arbros. Did it say where he was at the end of this?
No.
I mean, now that Diem is trapped on the island and she has Ambros and Montios and kind of just random places around, like, who's really guarding that without her being there?
The Guardians have kind of split a little bit, right? Because you've got Vance and his radicals who are working with her father, but then you still have Auralie and Cordelia and these people who are not on board with killing every single descendant they find. So I think there's going to be a lot of division there on top of...
But didn't her father kind of side with her a little bit and tell them that they couldn't kill her?
He told them that they couldn't kill her, but he also was straight up like, next time you defy me, I'm not going to tell them they can't kill you. He's like not necessarily her adversary just yet, but he's definitely not her protector. He's a little unstable.
I want to like him. Is that weird?
I do too.
I want to like him.
I think Diem wants to like him too, but...
That's what's going to make it hard when that decision comes.
I want him to turn out to be good.
Yeah, there's just no way.
Like a little Loki, little Loki vibe going on where he is like chaos, but like he means well. He's just a little chaotic.
Yeah, but we know everything. The balance has to be restored, and he's the piece there.
One thing that I like about this series is there's clearly not like a good guys versus bad guys situation going on. Diem is able to find good people among the humans and the descended. And so the only people who are going to be the bad guys, quote unquote, are the people who are radical and can't envision a world where they coexist, because those people are going to be out to get whatever side they're on. And so her dad can't be good because he has made a vow to kill every descendant out there, including Luther. And we know Diem's not going to be on board with that. In the same way, Igneos was bad because he wanted to kill every human. He kicked all of the humans out of his land and like was viciously like, let's just off them. The Bennetts are evil, and Ileana's family, whose name I'm not remembering, like the nobles in Lumnos are not good people for that reason. So like, I like the fact that it's really clear that like there's no, these are the villains. It's very much like your choices define whether or not you're good. And I really like that about these books.
One thing that Henry could do to redeem himself is if he takes it upon himself to kill Vance. Just take care of that problem and you're restored.
Or if he sacrifices him, like if Vance goes to kill like Luther and Henry like steps in the way and like dies in Luther's stead.
Okay, so Henry either has to kill dude or die himself, and then maybe you can be...
Sorry, Lana.
Redeemed.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Lana definitely seems really open to the concept that like not all descended are bad. So I don't know that I want bad things to happen to Lana and therefore Henry by association, but I don't know. Henry doesn't seem like he's good for Lana. I want her to find somebody else.
Okay, so when you mentioned that
maybe she and Eamon could get together.
When you mentioned her dad wants all of the descended to die, do we think that the reason he wants all of them to die is just because they are the ones who chained him? Or do we think that there might be more to that?
I'm sure there's more to it, but I'm certain that it's out of revenge for the fact that they locked him away for thousands of years. And he went insane. He went nuts. He is not stable. I really want to emphasize that.
And why did they lock him up again?
He was causing trouble. There was records of how the siblings felt about him. They were terrified of him. He was a little...
But what did he do?
He's the only one who didn't give up his immortality for a mortal. And
I think he destroyed their homeworld.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm gathering. I just want to, like, there's more to it than he was just a pain in the ass little brother.
Well, yeah.
But it's like, that's his nature if he's just the hodgepodge everything, the everything bagel.
Maybe that's why. They didn't like him being an everything bagel.
Yep.
Everything bagels suck.
They do. So
I feel like we're going to find out more about that past history and why he was sentenced to the sentence he had to.
Oh yeah, she's going back to the library to read more of those journals and history books and stuff. She's going to find out more.
Or she's going
whenever
to have
she
time on
can-
her hands to actually read the thought pictures she took of them.
Doesn't she only have to like just flip through the pages basically? She doesn't have to
And
like
then she can read it later.
Mhm.
like a little Rolodex.
She doesn't have to go back to the library. She can just, okay, this book? I want that
Assuming she
power.
opened them, but
Well,
yeah.
it didn't say she had to open them with her hands. Like, they were doing some things on the counter. Maybe she got some useful knowledge out of her, like, sliding with her butt.
I think it said somewhere she had to put eyes on the page.
Yeah, I think so
okay,
too.
well then that won't work.
Like kind of like photo.
But I appreciate your enthusiasm, Tara.
Priorities.
I mean, she had her priorities in there, and I don't think they were looking at pages.
They weren't. Her priorities
We'll
were where
see.
my priorities were in that moment also.
It's like,
So-
good for you.
Finally, fucking A, we've been waiting for 3 books, like 6 months here.
It's literally page 950.
Yeah, you guys were like, does it get spicy? And I was like, yeah.
It does, but it's that slow burn.
Yeah,
It
it's
wasn't
the
lying.
slowest burn. Which Penn Cole does warn. Like, somewhere on her website, I think she was like, these books are super slow burn, and they have cliffhanger endings, but I'm going to release them 6 months apart. And then she got picked up by a traditional publisher and was like, just kidding about that last one.
But the first 2 are
Why?
correct.
I need some stuff now, some extra chapters, something. I'm gonna hunt those down because I need to know at least what happens now. I need to cross the bridge at least.
Yeah. She did release the first 3 chapters of Burn for people who follow her newsletter.
Is Diem gonna be like Violet Sorengale and have all of these Gryvern bonded with her?
She 100%, like, so the first 2, Fortos and Minotos were the 2 that didn't have their Gryverns. But she does now have the Gryvern of Umbros, and she's gonna have Igneos soon, I'm just saying.
Do we think Sarai and Tybalt are gonna repopulate, like
I
make more
hope
Gryvern?
so.
Are we gonna get some baby Gryvern?
really hope so. Like,
Wouldn't that be the
Can
cutest?
you imagine the little baby Gryvern?
Sarai would be a good mommy.
I want to know when those plushies are coming out, you know, like.
I
yeah,
bet.
Penn Cole, there's your idea. Make little plushies of Gryvern.
I bet that if they do make little baby Gryverns, that the little like animals that Phanos or whatever gave her for the Gryverns, I bet she would feed it to the baby Gryverns, right?
Oh no, I don't want to picture that.
Well, they get a little treat. Imagine the little baby Gryverns so happy because they got a
Poor
little
bunny
treat.
rabbits or whatever they are. Well, I think we did a really good job considering all of us went into this conversation kind of shaky on the details. Like, we got there.
I'm proud of us.
Yeah, I'm proud too.
And I'm proud of everybody who listened to the end and has read these books with us.
And lived through our laughter and weird comments.
And Sandra's dirty mind tonight.
I can't help it.
I apologize for being like, you guys should read these books really fast, because I knew it was gonna hurt, and I didn't tell you.
You're evil.
I'll say the first couple hundred pages of this book where she was separated from Luther and she didn't have access to her power because she was drugged up on flame root a lot, that always irks me in books. Like, I hate going through that journey with the main character. I just want them to break free already and get on with it. So that was probably the hardest part for the whole series with me.
I also got annoyed when Luther was like pushing her away, and like you low-key knew it was because he was poisoned.
Thank you for jogging my memory on that.
Yeah, I
was
hated
like,
that part.
bro. I was like, first of all, Diem, you know something's up because this boy has been after you since page 1 of book 1. So why are you now all of a sudden like, I don't know if he likes me?
Smack you.
Stop. But also, like, Luther, bro, come on. You gotta tell her
Communicate.
because she healed Taryn and maybe she can heal you. And like, I just...
He was just willing to roll over and die. I'm like,
He's
really?
like, I tried the poultice. Like, well, maybe you did it wrong, dumbass.
You didn't involve Diem. She was the common factor here.
She is the healer. I even think he had caught on that she was picking up powers from other people or could use their powers. I'm like, really?
That's why he was like, step into that other territory just once.
Yeah.
Like, he figured it out way faster than the rest of us. And meanwhile, he's like, man, it's fine.
Over here, I'm just gonna die because I don't know that she can really do anything.
He's like,
is he 22?
I don't know how old he
young?
is. They do not really establish his age.
I think he's
don't
older
want to
than
ask
that,
questions because I don't want it to be like a 500-year-old fae with their 19-year-old girlfriend trope that
that's weird.
I definitely doesn't dissuade me from reading, but like also, come on.
I think he is her age or something. I think there was like maybe a throwaway line when he was talking about his mom how many years ago.
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that.
Hopefully.
That's good. That's comforting. Any last words?
Hurry up, Penn Cole. Release date would be nice.
Yeah.
I feel like the book is written and they're just like taking their time on edits or something. I don't know.
Well, we have the release date for the new edition of Glow of the Everflame, which is December. When did this book come out? Spark of the Everflame? Like it came out.
I don't know when it came out.
So maybe however many months apart if they do it consistently.
I will say she had on her website, it was like Burn of the Everflame TBD 2024, and when I went on there like yesterday, it no longer says 2024, it just says TBD.
It's going to be like winter or fall next year.
We will probably not get it until 2025 at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if it was at the very earliest spring. Yeah.
It was wild.
Well, in the meantime, she can get those plushies going because we're going to have all the Gryvern fan art and stuff.
When we discuss episode 4, you'll just see like a mountain of stuffed animals.
All of them. Okay. So I guess the only thing is if we can track down those first 2-3 chapters, whatever number they are, of Burn of the Everflame, maybe hop on IG Live. So that's a potential thing to look out for before we end our Kindred's Curse journey.
For a
next
little
year.
while. Yeah.
For a while, a long while. Tara, do you want to sign off?
Thanks for going on this long, windy road with us. And thanks, Jess, for coming along with us too, because we needed your help.
I really appreciate you guys inviting me to join on you 3 episodes in a row. Sorry to your audience if they're sick of me.
No.
They're not sick of you because they've stuck around with me and Sandra, so it's much the same vibe, I think.
They've dealt with Tera.
What?
Okay, bye now. Subscribe, like, review.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
But really, what'd you just say? I couldn't hear you.